And welcome to both of you. And I'm so sorry, once again, we're here under these circumstances. And Montana, I know this is particularly hard for you because Mike was your friend. And you said that the Mike that we saw on screen was very different to the Mike that you knew, and that he was misunderstood in many ways.
Yeah, I feel like he had a part to play, which was, muggy Mike. And to be honest, I see people online saying, oh, you shouldn't call him that. And I do think he actually quite enjoyed his name for what it was.
Right.
Because
Chris Hughes actually said that, don't call him that
exactly.
anymore.
And I feel like he got a lot of jobs based on that name, and it kind of gave him a bit of a buzz. But he really was actually quite sensitive, and I feel like it's a shame that more people didn't get to see that side of him.
So what sort of guy did you know?
He's very loyal, he's very thoughtful. He sent me a Christmas card in the post. I feel like that's really thoughtful. Like, not many boys would do that. And he's really family-orientated, and he's such a lovely person.
In November and December of last year, you said that he went through a dark time and that you had concerns for him then. What was that about? Why was that?
Do you know what? It was... He did go through a really rough time, November, December time, and I know he was really, really struggling. And that's when I thought, oh, my goodness, I feel like something bad's going to happen. And then I gave him The Magic, which is obviously a spiritual book, because I was kind of at my wit's end. I was like, oh, my God, something really terrible is going to happen if I don't do something. And I kind of felt like he was coming out of it, which I think is why it's come as such a shock, is because he was doing so well. And I think at that point... the work wasn't coming in, he'd finished Celebs Go Dating, the buzz had kind of gone, and he didn't really know what to do for work, and he wanted to be his own boss, and he didn't know how to do that. I know he had a massive tax bill that he paid, and I think the stress really, really got to him, and he kind of thought, this fame isn't what it's cracked up to be. Where do I go now? But then, obviously, he's started this cafe. He's just started this brunch cafe, which he's nearly finished. And it's just, like, why now?
And so, when you spoke to him, because I know he opened up, he confided in you, how often did you talk? What did you talk about?
I mean, when he was going through a really rough time, every day I was checking up on him, because I was genuinely really, really worried about his mental state. And he opened up and he said, I've been to see a therapist. And I don't know if it's with men altogether, but the therapist just wanted to talk about his feelings, and I think he just wanted someone to tell him, how do I get out of this dark place? How do I make myself feel better? Because I think he tried everything, and
he was looking for a solution.
Yeah, exactly.
How did you find out the news?
So one of my friends texted me saying, I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that Mike took his own life. And I thought, I was sat in the pub, actually, and I was like, no, I was like, that's not true. I was like, that's what a horrible rumour. So I texted him saying, hey, there's this really weird rumour going around. Call me when you get this. And it didn't deliver, it just had the one tick on WhatsApp. And that kind of rung alarm bells. And then I tried to call him, and his phone went straight to answer phone. And then I kind of felt sick. I was like, oh, God. I was like, something really terrible's happened.
When was the last time you spoke to him? What communication had you had?
2 days before. But I kind of kicking myself because he texted me and I didn't actually reply, just because I'm really bad on my phone. And I think you overthink everything, like what you do, and I just wish I'd replied.
What did he say in the text?
He just said, how's it going, girl? Like, how are you? And I didn't reply.
Listen, you can't possibly know. And as you said yourself, that you thought he was in a better place.
Absolutely.
You thought he was getting there, so you couldn't know.
You have the family's blessing to be here today. I know that you've been in touch with them, and I can't imagine. There's just this feeling when this happens, this feeling of shock and these questions of why. And Simon, I think this is a good time to bring you into this conversation, because it is so common, as we've seen the statistics there, but it is still a shock each and every time.
It seems to be alien to human behaviour when it happens, despite the fact that it happens 16 times every single day in this country. Your story is so common, and if we could understand why people find it such a shock that people so often seem to be in a better place and then make this decision, I think we try to understand. Our perspective is, we try, as you did, Montana, we try to keep in touch with people as much as we can, to check in with them on a permanent, ongoing basis. And that's in our schools, in our friendship groups, in our family groups. And you're right, especially with men. It's a different set of circumstances. With some women too, they find it very hard to talk about their feelings. Much less likely to go and present for formal medical health care. And as you say, counselling very often is much more about sort of listening and trying to take a long-term approach to solving issues, when a lot of people, many of them men, crave a set of solutions, want to get over this problem rapidly and practically. That's our aim with our helpline, is anybody that rings us will get that.
Well, it is the single biggest killer of men under 45. And as we heard from Montana then, he had the cafe, he had plans. There was no indication as to what his next move was actually going to be. So how do you know? How can you tell?
You never can. I think that's the right answer. What we need to do is we need to look out for changes in people's circumstances, changes in their behaviour. For men in particular, employment and relationships are the two most governing things in our lives that dictate whether we're happy or not. So changes around that, and then certainly things like debt and addiction can play huge parts, but you simply never can tell. I think that as the campaign against living miserably, what we aim to do is provide ways that people can, in an ongoing fashion, look after each other.
And what happens now then? So if you're sat at home watching this and you're going, all of those things that you've just said, I recognise in my partner, in my husband, in my brother, in my friend. What do you do? How can you help them?
Ring our helpline. Go to our website and talk to people on our helpline. So we're there for people who are themselves at a point of crisis, or people who are worried about other people. So do that, but talk to each other. Encourage open behaviours, ask questions and really mean it. Listen to the answers, be facilitative towards conversations which are going to lead to those kind of solution-based ways forward. But there is no short answer as to why it happens, and there's certainly no short answer as to how you might spot that. But all of those things that we said, there's so much stuff on our website that can help.
What do you say? I mean, that's if you spot it in someone that you know. What do you say to the guy, and we're predominantly talking about men this time in this particular chat. What do you say to the guy who's watching this thinking, it's me?
Well, I would certainly say call our helpline. If that's how you're feeling, call our helpline this evening. We're open from 5 to midnight. It's so complex, and every case is so different. But I think what this really shows is that none of us are immune to this problem. That it visits people who are successful. It doesn't check your bank balance. It doesn't check your future options. Depression can strike at any time, and for 12 men every day, suicide is the answer. What we say is, just don't, just stay, just see what might come next, and we'll try to help.
Do you think it's always planned?
No, not at all. No, it can be a hugely spontaneous thing. We refer to it sometimes as a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And when you're faced with a situation in your life where you can see no way around that block, it seems for many people that death is preferable to life. And that's so tragic, right? You know, that there's 16 people, 12 of them male each day, that can see so little hope in the future. There's something wrong at the heart of our society that dictates that.
What difference did Project 84 make?
A huge amount of difference. So we, ITV and CANT, had the first Minister for Suicide Prevention appointed directly as a result. So government has a responsibility to start putting measures in place to look at prevention, but understand the kind of issues we're discussing here in much greater detail. Use of our helpline has increased over 40% year on year, which is, I guess, it's both brilliant and awful. People are finding us, but it just shows how many people need us. But it had a profound effect. And the one thing I think it's really important to talk about is that the word suicide, which you so brilliantly said so many times in that week, almost a year ago this week, it's very hard for us to say out loud. We find it very hard to talk about death, let alone suicide. But what's very clear is that saying the word doesn't lead to suicide. Talking about it can be the thing that can put the brake on.
Stop it. I don't think we can talk about it enough. It's such a huge problem. I'm so sorry you feel lost. Will you please send our love to the family?
Yeah, definitely.
I can't imagine how they are doing at the moment. Just shock.
Yeah, I spoke to them yesterday. I spoke to Mike's dad yesterday just to make sure that, I wanted to respect their wishes in coming here today and speaking about it. And I mean, they're as shocked as I am, because I think they feel the same in the sense that, at the end of last year, potentially could have been like, I could have seen that coming. But now he's been booking trips. He booked a trip to California with his best friend for a couple of weeks. He wanted to go to Sweden. He's about to open this cafe. He's been going to the gym. So I think that's why I really struggle, because there was just in my eyes, there was just no reason for him to do that. And I just don't know if it was just a spur of the moment, spontaneous decision where he had a moment of weakness. But it makes me so sad that he obviously just had so many demons that he went through on his own.
Thank you for coming and talking today.
Yeah, well done
as
you.
Always.
That can't have been
Thank
easy
you.
at all. Well done.
Kelly said, to the world, someone may appear to have it all with good looks, money and fame, but behind closed doors, despite all the people in their life, they can feel so alone. They say people don't want to end their lives, just their pain. And lots of love to his family, and thank you. Don't think that you missed anything. It's not your fault. Okay.